I'm curious, Ahmed, maybe you want to say, how much do you think of this as a conscious civil disobedience effort? And do you think a lot of the students are coming into it with that consciousness of arrest being a part of kind of the goal, as Lori's saying?
I mean, we're talking about it like it's like we're reinventing the wheel. Like this is a new discovery. It's a new phenomenon where we're trying to probe and understand. This is an American pastime. This is part of American history. This is what you claimed you were part of, and I believe you when you say that back in the 60s or whatever. This is a Vietnam moment. I mean, what's happening in Gaza right now is larger than life. It's an extraordinary moment in our human experience. And here's why. There are three forms of humanitarian sort of crises. One is a natural disaster, whatever form, tornado or hurricane, an earthquake. Our hearts go out to the victims. We help them. There's nothing we can do to stop it. It's a natural disaster. Then there are man-made disasters, and there are two types there. One is one that is created by a country or a power that we consider a foe, as the United States of America. And that's usually the case. And what we do then is we stand up to that foe and we stand with the victim. We support the victim, as we're doing with Ukraine, with weapons, with humanitarian aid, with our public statements, etc. But in this third and final case, here we have an ally who's committing these atrocities, and we are supporting this ally. We're giving diplomatic cover to this ally in the United Nations. We're giving them weapons to continue to do what they do. We're giving them money in the billions of dollars, even after these atrocities were committed. And while all this is happening, as students stand up and say, look, we disagree with this, we think this is wrong, they're then vilified, they're then accused as being terrorists or pro-terrorists or anti-Semites or whatever, and it chills their ability to push back on what is something that should be pushed back on. I mean, to use your first example of the principle of the progressive left, that the victim should be believed, that's sort of a double-edged sword, because if you look at, you can use that to say, well, the victims of violent Zionism should be believed when they say that they have been erased, they have been dehumanized, they have been depopulated and dispossessed and displaced, etc. And that when they are calling for freedom in their ancestral homeland, they are not calling for the demise of another people or the mass murder of another people. None of them have ever said that. None of them have said anything that insinuates that. As a matter of fact, when accused of saying that, they will deny and say, that's not what we're saying. From the river to the sea, for those who say it amongst the Palestinian population and their supporters, means freedom in three ways, in the three different territories. In the West Bank, they're talking about dismantling the oppressive systems of the violent settlers and the IDF that supports them and the land grabs. They're talking about the expansions, illegal expansions. That's what they're dismantling. That's what the freedom is for. When we're talking about the Gaza Strip, it's the siege, it's now the genocide, it's the displacement and the mass murder with American weapons. When we're talking about Israel proper, we're talking about freedom from being third, fourth, and fifth rate citizens. And so to dismantle these systems of oppression without killing anyone or moving anybody away from this land is the freedom from the river to the sea, per their own words. We don't get to tell them what they mean. We've told them, look, you don't belong where you're born. You don't belong where your heritage is. We're going to take that away from you. We're going to take away your souls from your bodies, in 34,000 so far. And on top of that, we're going to take the words out of your mouth and the meaning out of your mind and tell you what you mean. This is what you should be saying. It's not what you're actually saying. So to me, that is a form of suppression, and it is censorship, and it is problematic, and it's counterintuitive. It's gaslighting, especially as these atrocities are happening right now. They're the villains in the story.
Can I say, we're not here to debate the war or the politics of the Middle East. If you want to do that, that's another thing. We're here to debate free speech on campus and its limits.
Well, you're saying that they're saying from the river to the sea is a genocidal statement. And so this background informs my response to that very strange statement that you made. And so it's not out of line.